Good morning. Welcome back, those who were away and those who missed last week's class. If you did not listen to the recordings are on the website chabadalberta.org/Tanya. If you scroll down to the bottom, there is the recording of the classes, and they will be. I do encourage everyone to listen to them. I listen to them myself, and I learn a lot from them. Believe it or not. People are asked, some people during some classes, people are asking questions, and we can't cover and answer all questions immediately, so we cover them in the course of the classes. So so as an example, Adina asked a question about one of the four elements that was missing in the chart, and we discussed it in the last class, so you're encouraged to listen to it while driving, while doing the snow, while taking a walk. There is lots of opportunities that one could listen to the classes. Today we're going to start to learn about the souls, the two souls, and where they reside. In other words, where do we find them? If we look for them, where do we find them in our body? So we're not going to obviously to cover the whole thing because it's a lifetime and it's more than one class. However, we're going to start the discussion on that, and we're going to continue as the Alter Rebbe teaches about these in different places and in Tanya and throughout the book of Tanya. So the two souls are known as Nefesh HaBehamit, the animal soul, and Nefesh HaElokit, the divine soul. The Nefesh HaBehamit, the animal soul, has a few other names, which you might want to take notes. If you need paper, you could borrow from each other or share with each other. There are some pens on the tables.
Anybody need paper?
Yes, please. I thought I had paper. Thank you. Whoa.
If this doesn't come back,
I'm fired.
what?
Yeah, you're fired as a servant.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the animal soul has a few other names, and to mention a few, Nefesh HaChiyunit, the soul of life, vitality, the soul that gives life. Nefesh HaTiv'it, the natural soul, the soul of nature. Nefesh HaSichlit, the soul, the intellectual soul, the soul of intellect. The divine soul, to the best of my recollection now, and as a good friend of mine always says, he has a good memory, but it's very short. So, okay, mine is very short. Sorry. So mine is very short. I'm sorry. So the divine soul has one name, Nefesh HaElokit. But the other souls have different names. Why? What is the meaning of all these names? So we're going to learn about it today, and we're going to try to make a little sense of it. So it's called Nefesh HaBehamit, the animal soul. Why is it called the animal soul? And what is the difference between a human being and an animal? Why isn't it called a human soul? And maybe it is a human soul. And it is a human soul. Is the animal soul of an animal and the animal soul of a human being the same? Or are they both animal souls, but different kind of souls? So the truth is that the animal soul of a human being is not the exact same soul as an animal. Why? Because the Alter Rebbe says in Likutei Torah that the animal soul of a human being is maskelet umedaberet, has intellect and has the speaking ability. Animal souls of animals don't have it. So one will argue there are animals who are very wise and do have seichel. Very good question. And the answer to it, and to clarify it briefly, is animals have seichel, but the seichel is very limited to serve themselves. It's an instinct. They feel, they understand what their needs are. But it's all about me. Limited to oneself and limited to the nature of the individual.
So when they're giving you attention, affection, that's for themselves.
Yes.
That's so that they can get fed or whatever.
Whatever it is. Yes.
So they can't feel like caring.
Caring, yes. For themselves.
Yeah, but you have like monkeys that can speak. They can do sign language and stuff.
Very good. It's not the speech. Of course, animals speak. Of course, animals have language. But it's not the speaking that we have. We have the ability of intellectualizing, of using our brain for something that is greater than us, something that is greater than the here and now, something that is godly. Animals don't have that. An animal cannot study Tanya. To put it simple.
But they offer, I think, humans. They can offer humans a lot. You can get a lot out of, when an animal is there, and
I never said no. No one argues that.
But even though their feeling is for themselves, how do they give that? How can they give that to a human being? They seem to give comfort, at least.
100%. 100%, but it's selfish. I'm not arguing that, and we're not discussing today the whole on every animal in the world and what it's doing and how it's doing and what its nature is. But bottom line, an animal cannot be a human being.
Right. No, of course.
So it's a different soul. Yes.
Do all living things have a soul?
Yes.
So plants have a soul?
Yes.
What kind of soul do they have?
A plant soul.
A plant soul?
A plant soul.
A plant soul?
Yeah. A soul that gives life to plants.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
Yes.
may I ask a question?
One at a time. Every object in the world has life.
It has like,
If life means a soul. If it doesn't have a soul, then it's not alive, then it doesn't exist. So not only plants have a soul, but minerals, everything that is tangible, every creation, every creature, every creation of God has a soul. It's a different kind of soul.
Quick question.
1 second.
No, I heard that heard the thing that sometimes when a human being dies.
Sorry, I think it's about food. That comes first.
Is the soul of these potatoes fleshik or parv?
They don't have
That's not a soul. You want to know the body of this?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So, גלגולי נשמות, שעכשיו מקבלים עונש, וזה מתגלגל.
Again, what is it?
גלגולי נשמות.
Start the whole question and I'll translate in English.
יש אומרים שהנפש מקבלת עונש, ודרך גלגולי נשמות היא מתגלגלת יכול להיות לכלב, או לאבן, או
נו,
לדברים כאלה.
אז מה השאלה?
אז זה אומר שזה חלק מהנשמה של בן אדם הולכת
אז מה השאלה?
השאלה אם זה נכון או לא.
So, Michael wants to know if it's true that some souls of human beings are reincarnated, or are they at times penetrating as a punishment a body of an animal?
yeah. I kind of
Yeah, it's a very good question. And I could give the answer, but has nothing to do with what we're learning now here. The answer is yes, but let's try to concentrate here and not get carried away with wanting to find out everything that is happening in the world. So you don't have to be sorry. It's all good. So the animal soul of an animal is not the animal soul of a human being. So when we are talking about our animal soul, we need to realize and we need to understand the terminology of it and not take it out of context. We're not saying that we are animals. Behaving like animals and worse, that's a separate thing. Again, let's not take things out of context. But we're not saying that we're animals. What we're saying is it's an animal soul. Why? Because what is an animal soul of an animal? The animal soul of an animal allows the animal to be what it is by nature. Our animal soul of a human being allows a human being to be what it is, what he or she is by nature. That's the animal soul. So, many times we speak about the animal soul and we translate it as the evil inclination, as the Yetzer Hara. Are they the same? No. Why aren't they the same? Animal soul is evil. We learned a few weeks ago.
But people also do good things, also driven by animals. So.
Okay. Good answer. And another point is the animal soul not only good things, but the animal soul wants us to eat. The animal soul wants us to sleep. The animal soul wants us to be clean. That's part of the animal soul. Has nothing to do with the evil inclination. Has nothing to do with our Yetzer Hara that is driving us to doing something bad, to doing something against Torah. It's not against Torah to sleep. It's not against Torah to be tired. But the divine soul does not get tired. It's the animal soul that gets tired. So even a tzaddik, the righteous, that the Alter Rebbe speaks about, the level who does, the righteous at the level who doesn't have a Yetzer Hara, doesn't have an evil inclination, still has an animal soul, still needs to sleep, still gets tired, still needs to eat, still has body needs. Nature is still there. So the animal soul includes in it the evil inclination, the Yetzer Hara. But the Yetzer Hara is not the animal soul. And as you said earlier, good natural behavior is animalistic. That's what the Alter Rebbe says here. So if I am born by nature to be charitable, to be kind, to be a giving person, I said if, to care, is that godly? Not at all. Not at all. It doesn't have to be godly. It could be godly, but doesn't have to be godly. It's a nature, like there are very kind animals, as Basha said. There are very kind animals. There are animals who are evil, who are bad by nature. But there are animals who are very giving. So are there human beings who are very giving. Are they godly? Not necessarily. Could it be that they're acting nicely, beautifully, as an animal? Yes. Should we discourage a person from being an animal and give tzedakah and give charity? Yes or no?
No.
The answer is yes.
Question. So you ask somebody if it's if they want to give charity to Chabad, if it's coming from their animal soul or their godly soul? I'm just giving you. I'm just wondering.
You want to know if a person who is giving to Chabad, if I'm asking them if it's from their animal soul or from their godly soul.
Or maybe from
You're just
from-
saying thank you.
If people are giving to Chabad, maybe it's automatically from the godly soul.
So my answer is the following. I'm not even asking a person what they ate in the morning, if they ate kosher before coming to the Tanya class, or they ate non-kosher before coming to the Tanya class. So why should I ask about the charity that they're giving?
So there's an underlying question here. How do you know if it's from your animal soul or your godly soul that you're giving charity?
How do I know what the person? So the answer is the following. How do I know? I know that everything that you do and everyone else around me does is from the godly soul. I know that everything that I do, I need to examine if it's from the godly soul or from the animal soul.
That's for sure.
How do I examine? That's exactly what we're here about.
Okay. Thank you.
And we're going to learn about it, and very soon. Yes.
I want to ask a question that it is about Cain. When he attempted to kill his brother, God told him, sin is at the door. Overcome it and he flee from you. Is it animal soul or his evil inclination? What he described as a sin.
You're asking a question if killing,
No,
if Cain,
God told Cain the sin is at the door. Overcome it and he will flee from you. I'm asking, the sin which is at the door, is it a animal soul or a Yetzer?
I think the sin is appealing to the animal soul.
I Yetzer Hara.
It's before the Torah was given.
Yes, which is part of the animal soul.
Yeah.
That's what
But if it is
Matusof
Yesera, how can it flee from him if he resists him?
But there wasn't any Torah that was given at the time. So there wasn't.
I'm trying to find the passage.
Okay, find it and we'll discuss it a little bit later. I'm not sure I'm understanding your question, so please, as we go on, find it and we'll bring it up again. So as the question was asked, how do I know if good things that I'm doing, are they animalistic or are they godly? As Jerry asked the question, and every one of us is asking this question.
Why does it matter?
Because, as we said earlier, if it's animalistic, then I have to get rid of it. If it's godly, then I have to increase and enhance and make it happen more. And a very good question. What does it matter?
Yeah.
Very good question.
The result,
Exactly.
from the perspective of the impact it has, there might be no difference.
So, very good question. And we're going to discuss it. What does it matter? And how do we know? So let's address why does it matter. And today we're introducing the concept, but throughout Tanya, we're going to see it coming back and elaborate it on in different ways. What it matters is the following. What is the purpose of creation of the human being?
Serve God.
What is the purpose of creation of an animal? And what is the purpose of creation of a plant? And what is the purpose of creation of water and stone, of the mineral? The purpose of creation, and again we'll be brief on it today, of any object in the world is to become and to be part and to get included in something higher than who I was created and what I was created. So the purpose of mineral, of water, is it shouldn't remain water. The purpose of water is to serve mineral, is to serve plants and allow plants to grow, become part of animals. Animals drink water and get life from water, become part of a human being, which is water and the moisture that we have, life. Purpose of a plant is not to become water, not to go less life, but to get included in animals. So animals eat plants, and plants give life, help in the life of an animal and of human beings. So they become included in something higher. Not only food, but by planting trees, the oxygen and everything that it creates, the shade and the wind, everything that the plants are bringing to the world is to serve a higher purpose than oneself. Purpose of an animal, and all vegetarians, please forgive me. The purpose of an animal is to become part of the human being by being consumed by a human being, by serving human beings in many different ways. That's what animals are there for. What is the purpose then of a human being? To remain a good person, to remain a good human being, just to be a mensch, the way we say it in Yiddish, just to remain an animal the way we were born and created with our animalistic soul? The answer is no. We also need to become part of something greater than us. Not only to serve God, not only the plants serving human beings, but the plants need to become part of the human being. Included na'asa dam uvasar kipsaro. It becomes flesh, blood and flesh, as our flesh becomes part of us. So we need to become higher than who we are. What is the higher? To become godly. So your question, what difference does it make? Difference that it makes is, if I am charitable and I'm a good person, and I'm a caring mother and a caring father, and I give a very good education to my children, because it's my nature, then I'm a good animal. I'm a good human being equals good animalistic soul. I'm not serving anything higher than who I am. It's like an animal serving oneself. Like a plant serving oneself. There are plenty of plants who are serving themselves. Many plants are serving others, become part of the human being, of the animal. Plenty are on the surface, maybe not, I don't know. Probably the truth is I'm probably making a mistake, because every plant is serving the world, and the world is serving human beings, and it's becoming part of our lives. But human beings, many times, if we are not serving a higher purpose, then it's serving oneself, and it's not becoming part of the greater entity than us, God. So our purpose is to become godly. So our purpose, the reality is that the goal of life is not that we should be good people, but that we should change. Goal of our life is not that we should fight our bad habits and transform our bad habits into good habits, and get rid of our bad habits and become good. That's not our goal in life. That's a thing to do. That's the right thing to do, obviously. But that didn't even reach. That's like the precondition to start serving God. That's a given. What is the avodah pnimit? What is the internal service of God? Is to change our good natural habits of being good people, and doing it not because I'm a good person, but doing it because it's a mitzvah in the Torah. Because God commanded me to do it. So why am I offering an education to my child? Why am I feeding my child? Not because I'm a good mother, I have a good soul. Not because I'm a good father. Not because I have mercy upon that child, so I took that child in because the child was homeless, and I'm feeding and giving a home to that child. Not because it's human, but because it's godly. So I need to change my nature to make it godly. How do I know if what I do is godly or animal? So the Alter Rebbe gives a general rule that is very crucial in the start of Avodat Hashem, of serving God. And he's saying like this. He's saying a trait, a nature, a good trait that one has, if it originates in kedusha, in holiness, in sanctity, in the godly side, it must come with hard work.
Rats.
That's it? You're not coming anymore to the class? Very depressing. Anything that comes easy
It's natural.
and as a given is natural, and if it's natural, it's animal. Anything, including giving the billions of dollars to Chabad. Still give them.
But it's the same about, I heard it saying that the religious people that born in a religious families already come for them. To
Yes.
God, it's easier than.
Yes, and they have hard work. The words of the Alter Rebbe that it must come through milchama v'yegi'ah. A godly behavior must come the way God implanted it in the world through war and labor,
Why war?
fighting with oneself. So yes.
But if it eventually becomes easier,
Then there's something else up above that.
Okay. No.
and so then it comes from animal soul?
Then what?
It comes from animal soul then?
Did it move from godly to the animal? No. But it becomes a teva sheni, it becomes a second nature to a person, and once it becomes natural, it's not godly in the level where the person is standing. So the person needs to go deeper and higher and more godly. In other words, retirement and comfort is not Jewish.
All right.
Sorry. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. We can't retire. We cannot retire. We cannot, okay, I've reached my label. I'm a religious Jew. I'm a Shabbos keeping Jew. I keep kosher. I attend my weekly class. I give my UGA and Chabad pledge for the year. I'm all good.
What about tzaddikim?
What about tzaddikim?
Tzaddikim, we have no kamah too?
Yes. צדיקים אין להם מנוחה לא בעולם הזה ולא בעולם הבא. The Talmud says. Tzadikim have no rest, not in this world, not in the world to come, but ילכו מחיל אל חיל. They go from strength to strength.
Even tzaddik agamo.
Even Tzadik Gamo. Even more so.
What is that?
Even the complete Tzadik who doesn't have the Yetzer Hara anymore. Hold on. It says, I mentioned it yesterday on Shabbos here, that the Zohar says that one of the tasks of Moshiach is to make tzaddikim do tshuva, to make tzaddikim return to God. Because at the level where they are, Michael thinks that because I was born into a Jewish, religious, Hasidic home, I don't have a Yetzer Hara. And by me, I don't have challenges. By me, I'm all good. So we're not in confession session here, so I'm not going to tell Michael how bad I am. But don't fool yourself. Everyone, as my mother used to say, a little child has a small Yetzer Hara, evil inclination. A big child has a bigger Yetzer Hara. So if I'm bigger than you, then my Yetzer Hara is bigger also. But here we're dealing with Yetzer Hara, with evil inclination. What the Alter Rebbe is speaking about is about good natures even. They're still from the animal soul. Yes, Jerry.
So, if a tzaddik has taken his Eitzah Hara and it now works for the Eitzah Tov, in other words, his evil inclination now works for his good inclination, then what's the war? Because basically the animal soul now is working for the godly soul, not the other way around. So what's the war?
So again, if I understood correctly and if I heard correctly, there is a confusion between the animal soul and the evil inclination.
No.
You mentioned both.
Yeah. So the evil inclination comes from the animal soul, right?
Yes.
And if if a full tzaddik, a tzaddik Amar,
Yeah.
has sublimed both.
Is it possible? That's what I said earlier. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible for the tzaddik to get rid of his animal soul.
Doesn't get rid of it, but it now works for the godly soul.
It works for the godly soul, but he still has an animal soul. So there is always room for more godly and more godly and more godly, because godly is infinite.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I found my passage.
Okay. Could you pass it to me?
Yes,
Please.
it is verse 7.
7.
Yes.
Is it not so that if you improve, it will be forgiven you? If you do not improve, however, at the entrance, sin is lying, and to you is it longing, but you can rule over it.
Yes.
So you're asking if the sin that it's talking about, is it talking about the Yetzer Hara, or is it talking about the animal soul? I think I answered you correctly. I think it's talking about the Yetzer Hara.
Okay.
Could it be talking about the animal soul? Maybe. But I think it's talking about the Yetzer Hara that came to the world as a result of the sin of the tree of knowledge. I think. Take a number. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I understand the part that people are not supposed to just rest and grow, but the person who you mentioned has the natural good inclination and it's just animalistic. Okay, it comes from the animal soul. But on a practical level, what do they do? They
Okay.
still feel
Very good.
kind and
Very good. Good question. Yes, I'll get back to it.
Oh,
Yes?
go ahead. I was actually wondering, where does intuition fit into all of this?
Okay. So, very good questions. So, practically, what does that mean? I could answer it very briefly, but that's what we're going to learn about. What needs to be done in order to change it. But very briefly is, train yourself to love, not because you like it, but because it's a mitzvah. What is the outcome on a practical level is, if I do it because I like it, because it's in my nature, what happens in the day that I'll feel that it's not within my nature to help one who is ugly? Or my child who behaves not accordingly? God forbid. Or honor your mother and father and my parent doesn't deserve the honor. God forbid. What happens then? If we do it out of our nature, then every animal has its own selfish motives, and it changes. It changes from day to day. If we do it as Kabbalat Ol, as being a servant to God, as being accepting the yoke of heaven, like an animal who carries the yoke of that is being put on the animal by its boss, by its owner, then we like it or we don't like it. That's the Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. I don't have a mezuzah because it protects me. I don't light Shabbos candles because it's beautiful. Family time. I don't learn Tanya because it serves me to become a better person. Because that's the right thing to do.
So that has to happen on intellectual level, because every time you...
Very good. So, where does the animal soul reside? Going back, closing the circle. And where does the divine soul reside? So the Alter Rebbe says here in chapter 1 that the animal soul resides in the heart. That's where it originates. And that's the Nefesh HaChiyun, is the living soul, the circulation of the blood that originates in the heart. Goes everywhere, but originates in the heart. That's where the animal soul resides. And in turn, that's where the evil inclination is, and the good inclination, the Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Tov. Yetzer Hara here, Yetzer Tov here. On the right side and on the left, but where? In the heart. So the Yetzer Tov, the inclination of good, the intuition of good, is in the heart. I didn't finish. I just hinted. I just started. I just lit a fire. But the divine soul, the Alter Rebbe is going to teach us in chapter 2, resides in the brain. So practically speaking, how do I know, answering one of the original questions, if what I want and what I do, is it godly or is it animal? If it originates here, in the heart, then it's animal. Maybe an animal that we need to pad and take in, and it's all good, and it's a good animal. And hug the animal. Wow, you're a good animal. Good caring animal. But it's still an animal because it starts in the heart. It's a feeling. If the reason I'm doing it is because Shema Yisrael, as we mentioned last week in the class, listen Israel, God is one, and as a result you'll come to love God. If it starts with Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, that Hashem has commanded us with His mitzvahs, and that's why I'm doing it, then we know it's godly. There is a story shared many times. The Baal Shem Tov, founder of the Hasidic movement, took once his holy chevraya, his holy group, followers, Hasidim, took them on a tour, Friday night, Shabbos walk. They finished davening, finished shul, finished prayers. Come, let's go for a walk. So they're walking in the streets of Mezhebush, maybe it was, the town where the Baal Shem Tov lived, and he's taking them on a tour. They don't know why. Suddenly, they come through a house, windows, open windows, light coming out of the house, Shabbos candles, beautiful Hasidic family sitting around the table, enjoying a Shabbos meal, singing songs, harmony, beautiful family time, holy, everything is good. And then suddenly they see at the head of the table sees a ox with a shtreimel. You know what the shtreimel is? The fur Hasidic hat. You know those Hasidic hats, the fur hats? The black hat, same argument. There it was a shtreimel. Sits at the head of the table, sits an ox with a shtreimel heading the Shabbos table. Wow, these they never saw. These they never saw. This is something very unusual. The Baal Shem Tov explains and says the following: "B'makom shemachshavto shel adam, sham hu nimtza." Wherever the thought of a person is, that's where he is. You know, that's what the Talmud says. A person is where his mind is. This individual was a pious Jew. Halavai, he probably was a much better Jew than me. I'm not judging, and we shouldn't judge, but the Baal Shem Tov showed them on a deeper level. What happened during that moment, that individual who is the head of the family, you know, with his wife, you know, father or grandfather, whatever it was there at that Shabbos table, was sitting, you know, with his Shabbos clothes, with his shtreimel, enjoying a Shabbos meal in a holy atmosphere, and he ate a piece of meat, a steak, that he really enjoyed. It was wow, geschmack. Was well made. Was a good steak, a good piece of meat. For that moment, he forgot, or he didn't pay attention that it's in honor of Shabbos, of the holiness of Shabbos. But he enjoyed that piece of meat. As a result, what happened? He became that piece of meat. So it was an ox sitting in a shtreimel because that's where his mind is. He was all in that, immersed in that in that steak that he was eating. Why am I bringing that story? It would make a very nice cartoon and and message. You know, if someone would record my day and how I started in the morning and an hour later, and how many times did I change and what I changed to. You know how they do today, things quick, it changes, quick color, quick images and what? You know, here it's a human being, here it's an angel, here it's an animal, here it's a plant, here it's this animal, that kind of animal, this kind of beast. It would be a terrible picture to a terrible movie to watch my day, how I change, who I am, you know, every moment. You know what it's called? Multiple personalities. The psychiatrist would not know how to handle all.
Similar cartoon, people are walking around with computers and clocks instead of their heads.
I hope it wasn't taken off me. Okay. So hold on. So why am I bringing this out? This story, because there is that's the point of this story. One could be a very good, pious Jew, but did not start to touch holiness. I keep Shabbos. I enjoy my Shabbos family time. I enjoy my rest. I enjoy my learning Torah, but it's all self-serving. We didn't touch God yet. Hardly happens because everything is so mixed in. But that's where we need to work on ourselves to get to a godly level. Where does intuition come in? I was asked that question many times. My problem is I never got a clear answer what intuition is.
It's hard to explain.
I know.
I think it's more
I know
a female
because
thing too.
no. We men are also humans, and we also have intuition, and we also have good taste. We also know who to choose as a wife and not, so don't put me down.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you don't have it. It just tends to be, I don't know.
You know why it's hard to explain?
Yeah, it's very.
And I'm not an expert on intuition. And on psychology and on psychiatry and on human life, it's not my expertise. But I think what I was able, in my humble little learning and trying to make sense of it, the reason intuition is very hard to explain is because it has many different levels and many different intuitions. There is a sign, I always mention the sign here on the south side of the Shell gas station, right here. They have beautiful signs that come up. The newest sign there is I can resist anything except temptation. It's put very well. Everything is good until it comes to temptation, then I can't. The intuition is and we touched about intuition last week. If you were here last week, about the ruach, the air, and the way Mashiach is judging through smell and through intuition. So intuition is a very large word, and so to answer your question is the following: if the intuition is coming from the brain, if it's an intellectual intuition, if it originates in the holy soul, in the divine soul, then it's holy. If the intuition originates in the heart, then it's animal. Because there could be intuition on all levels. If I understand what intuition is, or if I don't understand what intuition is. That's why it's a very hard question to answer.
This is why I wasn't sure where it came in, because when I sense something intuitively, I sense it in my gut first. And I ignore it to my peril. Because my intuition seems to always be right, but I don't sense it in my brain or my heart. It comes here.
Yes, it comes there, but where does it originate? It's not where it... No, you don't know. That's the problem. That's the problem. Many times, and that I started answering the question that Jerry asked earlier, how do we know? But it comes to a point when one is taking this seriously and starting to work on oneself and starts to examine oneself, many times we don't know where it starts. Because many times we feel like doing the right thing, and the reason is because it's the right thing to do. Many times we understand it's the right thing that this is the way to go, but it's not because we understand, it's because that's what we want. So what triggers, I don't know. And that's the problem with intuition. That's the challenge with intuition. We don't know. One needs to dig and to be very true with oneself and dig deep in order to be able to get to the bottom of it. Is the intuition coming from because it's the right thing to do, so I know I shouldn't, or I know I should take action because something is wrong here, and it's wrong, and I know it's wrong, and that's where the intuition comes from? Or sometimes the intuition is, it's a feeling I have. I just want, so I have an intuition, or that's what I need to do. They're so intertwined. The brain and the heart are inseparable. Is that the word? Inseparable. They cannot separate. They go hand in hand. As long as a human being is alive, he must have the brain and the heart. They go together. And they have to go together. And naturally they pull each other. The question is where it originates. And that's what we need to work on ourselves. And that's what Tanya is going to teach us. This is what the Tanya is about. Teaching us about recognizing and learning what is animal and what is godly. So, to conclude for today, we have the war in our life, in our lives, in our body, in our daily life. We have a war between the evil inclination and the good inclination. We have a war between the animal soul and the divine soul. Are they the same war?
No.
In other words, we're fighting two wars at the same time all the time. Another very encouraging.
Could I ask a question?
Animal soul? Or yes, ask.
So I was just wondering, can a bad animal lose its divine soul?
Can a good animal lose its divine soul?
Same
Why a
question.
bad animal?
Same question.
Oh, can an animal lose its divine soul? The answer is no.
So can a bad animal perform holy actions?
Yes, of course. The godly soul cannot perform godly actions without the animal soul.
Whether it's
The godly soul cannot fulfill the mitzvah of drinking on Purim, saying l'chaim and having a Shabbos meal and putting on tefillin without the animal soul. There has to be an animal soul in order for the person to live.
so if it's a divine action, it doesn't matter what the animal is.
No, it does matter. You work with that animal. Every animal is different. And you work with that animal, and every animal within us is different, and every animal around this table is different. Yes.
So I always thought, like, for example, an ox would have an animating soul, an animal soul. Doesn't have a divine soul. Doesn't have an epishal not like a human does.
Right.
So Andrew was asking about a divine soul in an animal. Are you referring to a human?
Human.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, I was a little bit out there.
Yes.
You mentioned that the animal soul has also different names, and one of them is Sechit.
Sichlit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Sechlit means look like in the brain or in the heart.
Very good. Very good question.
One for next class.
No, it's not next class. The Tanya speaks about it. Chassidus speaks about it a lot, and because the nefesh hasichlis is the intellectual soul, is natural. At the same time, that's where the godly soul is. So it is the intellectual soul. It's the brain. But that's where the godly soul is. The godly soul could work with the animal soul through because of the seichel, because of the intellect. And by the way, the Alter Rebbe, I think, says, and I think it's even in the Rambam, that if I remember correctly, Maimonides, that where it says in the Torah we should make a man in the Tzelem Elokim, B'Tzelem Elokim Asa et Adam, that God created man in the image of God. It's about the nefesh hasichlis. It's about the intellectual soul, which is animal, but that's where the godly soul resides. That's the vessel for the godly soul.
So that means we have three souls.
No.
Why? Well, we have much more, but yes.
We have godly, Sechlit.
No.
No,
Sichlit is part of the animal soul, but that's the vessel where the godly soul could reside. But it's a human natural soul. Yes.
You said earlier that we have two wars, one with the animal
Yeah.
soul, one with the Yitzhar.
we never get
So,
Exactly.
but the Yitzhar is often trying to get you to do. The Yitzhar is often trying to get you to do what the animal soul wants, right? So,
Yeah.
It doesn't separate out so easily, I didn't think.
No, it doesn't separate out easy. As I said earlier, the Yetzer Hara is part of the animal soul.
Yeah.
But the animal soul is greater than Yetzer Hara and includes Yetzer Hara and is not part of the Yetzer Hara. So in other words, in simple English, what that means is the following. Every day and every hour, we have two wars. One is getting rid of evil, of our bad traits, of things that are evil and should not be there. And then we need to work on our good side and turn them godly. Those are the two wars.
Okay, thank you.
In simple English. Refine and make our life godly. Our learning Torah godly. Our prayer make it godly. Because many of us, many times, sometimes, every once in a while, it happens to me that I pray, but it's human nature. I pray because how can I not pray? I was brought up in praying. I feel like praying. It serves a need. I need to throw my heart out to Hashem. I need to express myself. I feel good to come and talk to God. It's words of comfort. Is that godly? Of course there is godliness there. Is that animal? Maybe.
One last point for anybody who ate the little potatoes. I found out from Rachel that they are fleishik. They were made with meat.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you for letting us know. So now we know that the body of those potatoes is fleishik. Thank you very much. Yes?
Thank you.
The question that you said, I asked you the question about.
It's in last week's class.
Do you have any, did you put it in?
No.
You didn't? I hope I'll get to listen to it. I know, I don't know if I'll get to it, now.
No, I didn't put it in.
Okay.
Get Danny, let's do it, he'll tell you.